Imagine a man who soared beyond the limits of human imagination, whose courage lifted a nation during its darkest hour. A trailblazer, a scientist, and a war hero, Jimmy Doolittle was more than a pilot. He was a force of nature. From the icy wilderness of Alaska to the skies over Tokyo, his story is one of relentless ambition, groundbreaking innovation, and unshakable bravery. This is the untold story of how one man's daring vision changed the course of aviation and altered the fate of history forever.
Jimmy Doolittle's story began in Alameda, California on December 14, 1896. Born to Frank and Rosa Doolittle, his early life was shaped by the pursuit of opportunity and the challenges of resilience. When Jimmy was a young boy, the family moved to Nome, Alaska, lured by the gold rush. It was here, amid the rugged wilderness, that his character was forged. In Nome, life was harsh and survival was not guaranteed. Jimmy's days were spent exploring the frozen terrain, and he quickly developed a reputation for bravery. He was also drawn to the sky, watching birds glide effortlessly above the frigid landscape. This fascination would become a lifelong obsession. Jimmy's formative years were defined by grit and determination. He was known as a scrappy boxer and a tenacious learner. His parents eventually moved back to Los Angeles, California, seeking better opportunities for their son. The bustling streets of Los Angeles offered a stark contrast to Nome's isolation, but Jimmy thrived in the dynamic environment. At Manual Arts High School, Jimmy excelled in mechanics and engineering. His teachers often remarked on his curiosity and ingenuity. After graduation, he pursued further education at Los Angeles City College and later the University of California, Berkeley, where he studied mining engineering. But destiny had other plans. In 1917, the United States entered World War I, and Jimmy Doolittle answered the call to serve. He enlisted in the Signal Corps as a flying cadet, beginning his journey into the nascent field of aviation. For Jimmy, flying was not just a skill, it was liberation. Flight training at Rockwell Field revealed Jimmy's natural aptitude for piloting. He quickly distinguished himself as one of the most talented cadets in his class. Though the war ended before he could see combat, his hunger for knowledge led him to push the boundaries of what was possible in the sky. After the war, Jimmy returned to academia. He earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from UC Berkeley in 1922 and pursued advanced studies in aeronautics. At the Massachusetts Institute of Technology (MIT), he became the first person in the United States to earn a doctorate in aeronautical engineering. His groundbreaking research on aircraft stability and control laid the foundation for modern aviation. Jimmy's academic achievements were matched by his daring exploits. In 1922, he completed the first coast-to-coast flight in under 24 hours, a feat that captivated the nation. Flying a de Havilland DH-4, he braved treacherous weather and technical challenges, proving that aviation could connect the vast American landscape. His career as a test pilot and engineer flourished. Jimmy set speed records, performed aerobatic stunts, and pioneered new technologies. He was the first to perform an outside loop, a maneuver once thought impossible, and he became a leading figure in the development of high-octane aviation fuels. By the 1930s, Jimmy Doolittle had established himself as one of the most influential figures in aviation. His contributions to flight safety, aerodynamics, and fuel technology revolutionized the industry. But his greatest challenges and his most significant achievements were yet to come. When World War II erupted, Jimmy Doolittle was already a household name in aviation. Yet it was his audacious leadership during the war that would forever define his legacy. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941, the United States needed a bold response to boost morale and strike fear into the heart of the enemy. In early 1942, Doolittle was tasked with planning and leading a top-secret mission, the first air raid on the Japanese mainland. The operation, later known as the Doolittle Raid, was an unprecedented gamble. Using modified B-5 bombers, the plan involved launching from an aircraft carrier a feat never attempted before. On April 18, 1942, 16 bombers took off from the USS Hornet, with Jimmy Doolittle piloting the lead aircraft. The mission was fraught with peril. The bombers launched earlier than planned, reducing their chances of reaching safe zones in China. Yet the crews pressed on, driven by their commander's unwavering resolve. The raid struck military and industrial targets in Tokyo and other cities, delivering a psychological blow to Japan. Though the physical damage was minimal, the raid shattered the myth of Japanese invincibility and proved that the enemy's homeland was vulnerable. Doolittle's leadership was instrumental. Despite losing all 16 bombers, the mission was hailed as a success. It lifted American spirits and forced the Japanese to divert resources to homeland defense. For his courage and innovation, Doolittle was awarded the Medal of Honor by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Promoted to Brigadier General, Doolittle continued to lead with distinction. In North Africa, he commanded the 12th Air Force, pioneering new tactics in aerial warfare. His efforts helped turn the tide of the war in the Mediterranean theater. Later, as commander of the 15th and 8th Air Forces, Doolittle played a key role in the Allied victory in Europe. He revolutionized escort fighter tactics, allowing American fighters to engage enemy aircraft more effectively and providing critical support to bomber missions. Throughout the war, Doolittle remained a hands-on leader. He often flew combat missions alongside his men, earning their respect and admiration. His ability to inspire confidence and his relentless pursuit of excellence made him one of the most revered figures in the military. After the war, Doolittle continued to shape the future of aviation and aerospace. He served as an advisor to the U.S. military and private industry, contributing to advancements in jet propulsion, missile technology, and space exploration. As chairman of the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics NACA, he helped lay the groundwork for NASA. Jimmy's personal life was marked by his enduring partnership with his wife, Josephine. Married in 1917, their relationship was a cornerstone of his success. Together, they raised 2 sons, both of whom followed in their father's footsteps as military pilots. Tragedy struck in 1958 when his eldest son, James Jr., died by suicide. Despite this devastating loss, Doolittle continued to honor his family's legacy through his work and public service. In 1985, President Ronald Reagan promoted Jimmy Doolittle to the rank of full 4-star general, recognizing his unparalleled contributions to the nation. It was a fitting tribute to a man whose vision and courage had shaped history. Doolittle's later years were filled with accolades and honors. He was inducted into the National Aviation Hall of Fame and received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. His contributions to aviation, military strategy, and scientific research earned him a place among the greatest pioneers of the 20th century. On September 27, 1993, At the age of 96, Jimmy Doolittle passed away in Pebble Beach, California. He was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery alongside his beloved wife. His funeral was marked by a flyover of a B-25 bomber, a poignant reminder of his extraordinary life. Jimmy Doolittle's legacy endures as a symbol of innovation, leadership, and bravery. From his early days in Nome to the heights of military and scientific achievement, he embodied the spirit of exploration and the power of human determination.
All right, so get this. We're going to dive deep into the life of Jimmy Doolittle today.
Jimmy Doolittle.
You know him, the Doolittle raid guy.
Right, World War II.
Yeah, World War II. But I bet you didn't know that later in life, he was like messing around with space travel.
Yeah.
This excerpt that we're looking at is about to blow your mind.
It really is wild how much more there is to him than just that one raid.
Yeah.
It's like the raid is just the tip of the iceberg.
Totally.
And underneath, you have this massive amount of incredible achievements and experiences.
Exactly. And to think it all started in Nome, Alaska.
No.
Talk about a rough and tumble childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine just being surrounded by the chaos of a gold rush as a kid.
Well, it wasn't just the gold rush, though.
Right.
Nome back then was this wild frontier town.
Oh, wow.
Like lawlessness, brutal weather.
Yeah.
And little Jimmy Doolittle getting into scraps, learning to box.
Wow.
That kind of environment forges a certain type of resilience.
He definitely was not afraid of a challenge, that's for sure.
Nope. But here's the thing that always gets me. He goes from this rough and tumble boxer to a mining engineer.
Yeah.
How does that even happen?
Well, I mean, he was clearly a bright kid.
Yeah.
And mining was, a booming industry back then. But then World War I breaks out.
Oh, right.
And suddenly it's all about airplanes.
Right.
Doolittle gets his pilot's license, ends up flying reconnaissance missions.
Wow.
Talk about a life-changing experience.
Yeah, that's where the bug really bit him, right?
Do you think so?
Because after the war, he wasn't content to just,
right.
fly a plane from point A to point B.
Fly straight.
This guy was pushing the boundaries of what was possible.
Absolutely.
In the air.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, in 1922, he makes the first transcontinental flight in under 24 hours.
What?
But here's the kicker.
Okay.
He wasn't just trying to be fast.
Right.
He was testing new navigation techniques, pushing the limits of engine performance.
Wow.
This was a scientific mind at work, not just a daredevil. And let's not forget about his crazy aerobatic stunts.
Oh, yeah.
The outside loop.
Uh-huh.
That maneuver was so dangerous, it was banned for years after he performed it.
Yeah.
That takes a special kind of guts.
It does. It's skill.
Yeah.
You have to remember, this is back when aviation was still, in its infancy.
Right.
Doolittle was not only a skilled pilot,
Right.
he was also pushing the boundaries of aircraft design and engineering.
Okay.
He was one of the first to see the potential of high-octane fuel, for example.
Wait, high-octane fuel?
Yeah.
Didn't that make the planes, super unstable back then?
It did.
Yeah.
Early aircraft engines weren't designed for it.
Right.
And it caused all sorts of problems with knocking and pre-ignition.
Wow.
Doolittle helped figure out ways to modify the engines and fuel systems to make it work.
Wow.
It was a huge breakthrough in aviation technology.
So we've got this incredibly skilled pilot, a daring innovator,
Right.
a brilliant engineer, all rolled into one.
Yeah.
And then World War II rolls around
Uh-huh.
and enter the Doolittle raid.
This is the event that made him a household name.
Right.
But even here, there's more to it than meets the eye.
Okay.
It wasn't just about bombing Tokyo.
Right.
It was about sending a message.
Okay.
Remember, this was right after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
The U.S. was reeling, and Japan seemed unstoppable.
for sure.
The raid was a psychological blow,
Yeah.
proving that Japan was vulnerable.
Yeah.
It galvanized the American public
Yeah.
and gave them a much-needed morale boost.
And it was incredibly risky.
It was.
Launching B-25 bombers off an aircraft carrier.
I mean, think about that.
That had never been done before.
Never been done before.
Yeah.
Doolittle himself piloted the lead plane.
Of course.
Think about the courage that took, knowing the odds were stacked against them.
You know what I find really interesting, though?
What's that?
The fact that he insisted on leading the raid personally.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a publicity stunt. It was about leadership.
Yeah.
He wanted to be there with his men, sharing the risks, demonstrating his confidence in the mission.
That's a crucial insight into his character.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about personal glory.
Right.
It was about inspiring his men and showing them that he was willing to put his own life on the line alongside them.
Wow.
That kind of leadership is rare and incredibly powerful.
It definitely makes you rethink the whole daredevil label, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
It was more about,
calculated risks.
calculated risks taken for a greater purpose.
Absolutely. And that purpose wasn't limited to the raid itself.
Right.
Doolittle's impact on World War II went far beyond that one event.
Okay.
His expertise and strategic vision were invaluable to the Allied war effort.
And this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The fact that most people only know about the raid.
Right.
They miss out on the rest of the story.
The rest of the story.
All the incredible things he accomplished after that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He goes on to command air forces in North Africa and Europe, plays a key role in developing fighter tactics, and basically revolutionizes how air wars are fought.
Really?
He was a true visionary in the field of military aviation.
And yet through it all,
Yeah.
he never lost that engineering mindset, that drive to innovate and push the boundaries of technology.
Which brings us to his contributions after the war.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
And this excerpt we have dives into that part of his life.
Right.
Buckle up. This is where Doolittle's story takes us beyond Earth's atmosphere.
Wow.
So we're talking about a guy who helps win a world war, becomes a national hero, and then dedicates himself to pushing the boundaries of space exploration.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy Doolittle for you. Never one to rest on his laurels.
It's honestly mind-blowing when you think about it. After all that adrenaline and high-stakes action in the war, most people would want to settle down, maybe, I don't know, take up gardening or something.
Right.
But Doolittle, he sets his sights on the stars.
It's like he had this insatiable curiosity, this need to keep exploring, keep pushing the limits of what's possible.
Right.
And space in the post-war era was the ultimate frontier.
But it wasn't just about the thrill of the unknown for him, was it?
No,
It was about using his knowledge and expertise to help shape the future.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Doolittle becomes a key advisor to the military and the burgeoning aerospace industry.
Right.
This is the time when jet propulsion is really taking off, rockets are becoming more sophisticated,
Yeah.
and the dream of space travel is starting to look achievable.
And Doolittle's right there in the thick of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was involved with NASA, the precursor to NASA.
That's right.
Talk about being at the forefront of history.
He served on the NOSCA Special Committee on Space Technology.
Wow.
This committee was tasked with laying the groundwork for what would become the U.S. space program.
Right.
His experience with high-performance aircraft,
Yeah.
his understanding of aerodynamics and propulsion, it was all incredibly valuable in those early days of space exploration.
I'm trying to picture it.
Yeah. All these brilliant minds gathered together brainstorming about how to send humans into space.
I know.
It must have been an incredibly exciting time.
It was a pivotal moment in history.
Yeah.
And Doolittle's contributions were significant.
Okay.
He advocated for the development of powerful rockets,
Right.
championed research into human factors and life support systems,
Wow.
and helped shape the strategic direction of the U.S. space effort.
But here's something I've always wondered about.
Mm-hmm.
After all the tragedy he witnessed in the war, the loss of his son,
Right.
how did he find the energy and motivation to keep pushing forward, to focus on something as abstract and ambitious as space exploration?
That's a great question, and honestly, it's hard to know for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe immersing himself in these challenging technical problems provided a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
a distraction from the personal pain.
I could see that.
Perhaps it was a way to honor his son's memory, knowing that James Jr. had also been a pilot.
Or maybe it was simply a reflection of his indomitable spirit, his refusal to let adversity define him.
Whatever the reason, it's a testament to his resilience.
It is.
He could have easily retreated from the world, but instead he chose to channel his energy into something positive, something that could benefit humanity.
And let's not forget, Doolittle wasn't just about science and technology.
Right.
He's also deeply concerned with the ethical implications of space exploration.
Oh, okay.
He believed that space should be used for peaceful purposes, for the benefit of all humankind.
That's a pretty forward-thinking perspective, considering this was back in the 1950s during the height of the Cold War.
It was.
Yeah.
Doolittle saw the potential for space to become a new arena for international cooperation, not just conflict.
Wow.
He believed that exploring the cosmos could bring nations together,
Yeah.
fostering a sense of shared purpose and wonder.
It's almost like he saw space exploration as a way to transcend the divisions and conflicts that plagued humanity here on Earth.
Exactly. And that vision, I think, is more relevant today than ever as we face global challenges like climate change and resource scarcity.
Right.
We need that same spirit of cooperation, that willingness to work together for the common good.
Doolittle's story also challenges us to think differently about leadership.
It does.
He wasn't the stereotypical, charismatic, rah-rah type.
Right.
He led by example through his competence, his courage, and his unwavering commitment to excellence.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
True leadership isn't about barking orders or demanding obedience.
Right.
It's about inspiring others through your actions, your integrity, and your dedication to a shared vision.
And Doolittle's vision was extraordinary.
Ooh,
Pushing the boundaries of aviation to helping lay the groundwork for space exploration.
yeah.
He was a true pioneer, a visionary who helped shape the course of human history.
But let's not forget, he was also a human being.
Yeah.
Someone who faced challenges and setbacks, who experienced both triumph and tragedy.
Of course.
And it's that combination of extraordinary achievement and human vulnerability that makes his story so compelling.
This deep dive has been a wild ride.
It has.
From the gold rush frenzy of Nome to the high-flying world of aviation and then beyond Earth's atmosphere. It's like we've been on a journey through history and through the incredible life of this one man.
And we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
There's still so much more to unpack, especially when we look at Doolittle's personal life and legacy.
Okay.
That's where we'll pick up when we return. Welcome back. You know, as we've been talking about Doolittle's life, I keep coming back to the fact that he achieved so much in so many different areas. Aviation, military strategy, science, even pushing into space exploration. It's almost overwhelming.
It is. It really is. It's
Yeah.
like he had multiple lifetimes packed into one.
Right.
And yet, amidst all those accomplishments, he never lost sight of the human element.
Yeah.
He was a husband, a father, a friend. He experienced loss, heartbreak. He wasn't some unfeeling superhero.
And I think that's what makes him even more inspiring, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you don't have to be superhuman to achieve extraordinary things.
Right.
You can be brilliant, driven, even a little bit daredevil,
Yeah.
but still be grounded in the realities of life with all its joys and sorrows.
His marriage to Josephine is a testament to that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They were married for over 75 years.
75 years.
Imagine the changes they witnessed together from the early days of flight to the dawn of the space age.
It's remarkable. And their sons, both becoming pilots, you can see how Doolittle's passion for aviation was passed down through the generations.
Right, right.
Of course, there was also the tragic loss of their son, James Jr.
Yeah.
That must have been incredibly difficult for them to bear.
It makes you wonder how he reconciled that loss with his continued work, especially in such, high-risk fields.
Yeah.
Did he become more cautious, or did he double down on his belief in pushing boundaries?
I don't know.
Maybe even seeing it as a way to honor his son's memory.
It's a tough question. Maybe it was a bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm sure the grief never fully went away, but perhaps he found solace in continuing to work towards something bigger than himself.
Right.
Something that could potentially save lives in the future.
And there's no denying the impact he had. I mean, the list of honors and awards he received is staggering.
Oh, it is.
The Medal of Honor, promotion to 4-star general, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It goes on and on.
It speaks to the breadth of his contributions.
Yeah.
The fact that he was recognized not just for his military service, but for his scientific achievements, his leadership,
Yeah.
his unwavering dedication to pushing humanity forward.
But here's the thing I keep coming back to. Doolittle wasn't driven by accolades.
No.
He wasn't seeking fame or fortune.
Right.
He was driven by something deeper, something more fundamental.
What do you think it was?
I think it was a love of knowledge,
Yeah.
a thirst for understanding how things worked, and a desire to use that knowledge to make the world a better place.
Right.
Whether it was through designing faster airplanes, developing new technologies, or exploring the vastness of space, he was always pushing the boundaries of human potential.
It's like he embodied that classic American ideal of The self-made man.
Yeah.
The innovator, the pioneer who carves his own path and leaves an indelible mark on history.
Totally.
But with Doolittle, it wasn't just about individual ambition.
No.
There was always a sense of duty, a desire to serve something larger than himself.
And that's the legacy I think we should all take away from his story.
I agree.
It's not about trying to become the next Jimmy Doolittle,
Right.
but about finding our own unique ways to contribute to the world,
Right.
to push our own boundaries and to leave things better than we found them.
Exactly. So, as you go about your day,
Yeah.
think about what your Doolittle moment might be.
What would that even look like?
What challenge are you facing that requires a little bit of that same courage, that same ingenuity, that same determination to make a difference?
Maybe it's tackling a difficult project at work. Maybe it's standing up for something you believe in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's simply being a better friend or family member.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, remember that you have the potential to achieve great things, just like Jimmy Doolittle.
You do.
You just have to take that first step and embrace the challenge.
And who knows, maybe your actions will inspire someone else to do the same, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate circle.
That's the power of a life well lived. A life dedicated to pushing boundaries and inspiring others to reach for their full potential. That's the legacy of Jimmy Doolittle, a man who never stopped exploring, innovating, and reminding us that the sky is never the limit.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.